Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday. I'm Kendra Lewis, the Executive Director of the Sacramento Housing Alliance, and I just want to do a quick housekeeping before we get started. Just want everyone to know that we are recording live. Please share it out with your networks, as well as this is being recorded. So we will have each day of the tour available early next week. So thank you. And then also we will have Q&A for both sites. So you are welcome to put comments and or questions in the chat, and we will be fielding them and asking our tour guides questions during the Q&A. So without further ado, thank you for joining us today. And thank all of you who have joined us this week for our tours. We've had some excellent tours, gone to some unique sites, and each day have had a virtual experience that for many of us, for the first time, are seeing some of these great projects. We went to sites developed by Mercy, SHRA, Mutual, Habitat for Humanity, and Hope Cooperative, who is just an amazing organization, is doing so many partnerships with so many of our developers in the region. And today we're going to go to sites developed by Jamboree and CHW, which is Community Housing Works. We will be starting, our first site will be our first tour guide. Our tour guides today, sorry, are I have the wrong day in front of me. That's why I'm like, what is this? Here we go. Our tour guides today are Jeree Glaser Hedrick, if I'm getting it correct, who is the Vice President of Jamboree. We have Mary Jane Jagzinski, if I'm getting that correct, who is our Senior VP with CHW, and Jackie O, who is also the project manager, who will be joining us. So we'll be meeting each of these women, and they'll be giving you an overview and tour of each site. I want to just say thank you to everyone who made this week possible. This was very different. If those of you that have known SHA for the years, it's been a traditional bus tour where we fill 52 seats and we go to sites in August in the heat. So everyone at least were able to not be out in the heat, and we were able to reach more people. Unfortunately, the pandemic, we had to change gears, but at the same time, we were really able to be a little bit more creative and see sites in ways that maybe we would not have seen them before. So I want to thank my team, especially our technical director, Karif Lawrence, who hopefully at the end will show a video or take his video down so you can see. He really, for this last year, has helped us in ways that we're able to reach people that we just can't do in person. And Adra Okoro, who is our policy director, our board of directors, and I want to thank our sponsors, which we just can't do this work, the City of Sacramento, Jamboree, who is with us today, Edna, HCD, and Mogavero Architects. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and get started. And Jeree, take it away.
So good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today. I'm going to talk a little bit about Jamboree, a little bit about the project, and then there'll be some time for questions if there are more in-depth questions than what I've covered. But I lead up operations for Jamboree in Northern California. We are a community development corporation who specializes in affordable housing with more than 30 years of experience. We are located in Irvine, California, but in 2019, Jamboree saw a lot of potential up in Sacramento, and so opened up the Sacramento office. For those of you who know me, I am not a Sacramento native, but I've been here. I grew up in Northern California. I've done a number of different things, but I'm really happy to return to the community that I love and try to address the housing crisis here. Jamboree has over 100 projects throughout the state, which include 10,000 units, and we service over 20,000 people. So we have a fairly large portfolio. Our mission is to deliver high quality, affordable housing and services that transforms lives and strengthens communities. And over the last, I would say, 10 years, Jamboree has really developed an expertise in permanent supportive housing, given the growing need there is throughout California to house those that are homeless. And Sunrise Pointe is a great example of that coming to fruition. It's also a really great example of a local partnership that's been formed between Jamboree and Hope Cooperative, who has had projects and has participated in this event on other days, but they are a local service provider that has really deep roots within Sacramento County. And I've worked with Hope Cooperative throughout my career, which has spanned a number of different organizations. But they're a great partner. They actually identified this site as a potential permanent supportive housing site and reached out to Jamboree to obtain some development expertise, but is staying on and will provide both case management and resident services for the units at Sunrise Pointe. There will be 47 units, one manager's unit. This is a unique project because it's a homeless family project. So it has 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. And Jamboree and Hope are working really closely with the school district to try to ensure children and families that are underhoused in the school district can enter the coordinated entry system, get onto the coordinated entry wait list, and then matriculate into this project. It will have 46 project-based homeless vouchers from the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. In addition to that, the Department of Behavioral Health is supporting 22 of the units through the No Place Like Home program. And so on-site case management will be split between the county for those 22 units, and for the remainder of the 24 units, Hope will be providing case management and overall resident services. There will be 1.5 FTE of resident service and case management coordinators on site, in addition to the commitment of services from the county. The project had a stack of funding, not unlike most permanent supportive housing projects. It was a 9% deal. It did, because it had project-based vouchers, it was able to support a conventional loan. It definitely had home resources from the County of Sacramento's consortium through the City of Citrus Heights, who really forward committed a lot of resources to make this deal come to fruition, and wouldn't have happened without the City of Citrus Heights and their political support. We also had some fee deferrals or waivers from the county, which was helpful to kind of piece it all together. We are really, really excited to see this come to fruition and to develop the deep ties with Sacramento Steps Forward and the coordinated entry system. This will be Jamboree first project in Sacramento that is using coordinated entry. We have another project, the Hotel Berry, that is located downtown. It's a historic rehab, which houses project-based voucher veterans and has the inclusion of former Mental Health Service Act money. But we have not completed a project where coordinated entry was part of the LISA process. And so we're really excited to work with Sacramento Steps Forward and with Hope to understand better how the process works and the clientele that will come from the list. So it's a really exciting project and partnership that we're happy to be involved in. Construction did break ground in April. And so I think, as you'll see in the following video, we're in the thick of it with regard to getting sticks in the ground. And that's always a really exciting point in time after years and years. This took 3 rounds of 9% applications to finally fund. And so we're just really, we're proud of the partnership, and we're very proud to bring this site, much needed site, to the City of Citrus Heights. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are ready for our tour. It was a great tour. And so I'd like to bring up Mary Jane. I'm sorry, not Mary Jane, Jerry back. And for question and answer, there are some questions that I think are in the Q&A, but if you can, please put your questions in the chat. We can catch them. So I have a couple questions that from your presentation, and then a few from the chat. Because one of the good things about this tour is there's people out there that are not part of the housing bubble, so they may know some things, nothing, or everything. So what is coordinated entry? You mentioned that. What is that? And you're muted, so just.
Thank you. So coordinated entry is the system that the county is putting together to organize placement of homeless individuals into permanent supportive housing. And it's an effort that's being partaken by Sacramento Steps Forward, which is the organization in Sacramento that leads in kind of the policy and operations of housing homeless individuals. But essentially it is a system where homeless individuals are identified. They are categorized via an analysis process into kind of those that are in the most need, and then they're placed on a list according to their characteristics. And that list is available for developers that have permanent supportive housing units that are ready for homeless individuals to pull from, so that individual property owners aren't themselves creating a wait list of homeless people. So it's a way to warehouse and have a centralized list of those that are in need of housing, so that they can most directly be directed to establishments that have permanent supportive housing.
Okay, great. Thank you. That is a broad lot of detail that goes in that process. So, and I think people, the community in general, when they hear that, what does that really mean? Thank you for that. So a couple more questions. Quite a few. When will it be available for residents to apply? Do you know?
So the property will be completed in fall of 2022. And so backing up from that, we'll be kind of opening it up in spring of 2022 to start coordinating. Again, if residents are interested, this is going to go through the coordinated entry system. So they would need to be working with our service providers and Sacramento steps forward to get on the coordinated entry list. But we won't ourselves have an individual waiting list. We'll pull people we'll pull residents from this coordinated list that's being developed. Yeah.
Great. And so, and this question has come up throughout the week. And this is the cost. What is the average cost? Just about every day that's come up. And feel free to kind of put any of that detail in the chat, or if somebody can put that, but every site is different, right? And every single, I think sometimes because it's public money and because of what affordable housing does for our community, I think people sometimes want to think that there's one cost, across the board. And can you just maybe give us just an overview of that process and the costs?
And so are you talking about the capital costs of the project, how much it's going to cost to construct, or how much it's going to cost to operate?
More so construction. I think the question is, will you be sharing the average cost of each site and the operating costs for the bedrooms? And is that included in the average operating cost? That's kind of the question. But I think in general, often, just the understanding the process of what it takes for these projects to come to life is exceptional. For the affordable housing developers, it is very complex.
Yeah, so I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Hold on a second, but the average cost for Sunrise Pointe per unit, and granted, this is a 1, 2, and 3 bedroom project. It came in approximately $430,000 per unit. This is, which is I think very middle of the road for affordable housing. But affordable housing does take a tremendously long time to piece together all of the financing parameters. And, there are projects are subject to additional energy efficiency requirements. They are not able to move through the process as swiftly as market rate units. They're also subject to prevailing wages, which is a very good public policy for workers, but it does add costs to our projects. In addition, to the time that it takes to put together the funding sources, permanent supportive housing requires a very robust operating budget, given the services that are necessary. And so permanent supportive housing projects generally don't have the ability to support conventional debt. The income that the residents have likely is not enough to pay for the operations of the building. And so that makes kind of piecing the layers of financing, which I was talking about. This property, because it has an operating assistance source, it is able to service debt, but we also have a subordinate debt from the state through the No Place Like Home program, and another tranche of subordinate debt from via the county home consortium program through the city of Citrus Heights and SHRA. So it's definitely, these projects are definitely, an act of commitment and a lot of love with respect to, there's a lot of, with this project, there was a lot of disappointments along the way. We were unsuccessful in securing 9%, a 9% allocation, 2 times in a row, we got it the 3rd time. And just the cost of keeping everything going while you're kind of just trying to start and stop your, your design process to be ready to close in time, also adds some amount of cost to projects. So
thank you. That I know that those are always very tough, complicated questions. It's not a straight answer. And thank you for taking time. I also want to mention to everyone how both of these developments are part of our, and specifically Mary Jane and Jury are part of our SHA's Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. So it's beyond development. It is the commitment to this space and the work that needs to be done now and well into the future. So thank you for being a sponsor today, and thank you for your time. And we look forward to more sites in our area. So now I'd like to introduce Mary Jane, who is a force and who will give us an overview about her organization and what we're about to experience on this tour.
Thank you very much, Kendra. And it's really an honor to be on a panel as well with Jury, and we really appreciate this opportunity. And on behalf of my CEO, Sean Spear, and all of CHW, really want to thank and commend Sacramento Housing Alliance for these tours. I think they are part of a celebration of affordable homes in our community, but they're also really letting people see what affordable apartment communities look like. Community Housing Works is a 33-year-old nonprofit. We were founded in San Diego, and that is still our headquarters. But we do work across California with the projects that we have in construction right now, including Arden, and all the ones in construction, luckily are vertical and have wood, as we all know with the lumber issues. We have over 4,000 apartments in 45 communities with those under construction. On a personal note, my family has called Sacramento home since 1965. So I grew up and I worked in Sacramento as well. And so I am just personally really thrilled to have this as our first development in Sacramento, and it won't be the last, because I know there is need for affordable throughout California. And I know what's happening in the Sacramento rental and home market. It's following everywhere else, and that it's just becoming terribly expensive. We have, when we build, and I know Jackie in a minute will talk more about this, we construct for sustainability, for health, and we construct for the long run. We're comparable in cost to market rate, but we're really building in the sustainable systems and healthy materials that position our developments for a very long time. And we always think of this as at least a 55-year ownership. We have never yet sold a tax credit project and don't intend to. So we serve essential workers. We all know who that is now after the resilience. Kendra mentioned resilience. We all know who they are, and we thank them, especially during this time. Working families, workforce, you call it, seniors, disabled persons, those needing a stable home at this time. And at Community Housing Works, together with our really impactful resident services, we know that lives are changed in sustainable ways. Again, I'm going to keep using that word sustainability because it affects not only building green and operating green, it talks about family fitness, financial fitness, and sustainability, the strength and sustainability of a neighborhood. We know that affordable housing is the beginning. We say opportunity begins with a stable home. And I think it's also the base of a stable community. And in closing, before I turn this over, I really want to thank our lenders, I should say, and investor. Bank of America provides a construction loan, and through actually what is private investment in low-income housing tax credits, they are bringing to the table that private investment as equity. So it is truly that investment. We also were the first nonprofit in California to apply for and receive CalHFA, California Housing Finance Agency, their mixed income programs called CalHFA MIP, if you're in the know. And this, I think, is really a wonderful program. And so we thank both B of A and CalHFA. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Jackie O, who is the project manager, and she's going to give you particulars, and then we're both available as you need for questions.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. So Arden Way Apartments, it's an infill transit-oriented community. It will feature 120 new apartment homes that is conveniently located adjacent to the Royal Oaks Light Rail Station. I believe this location offers easy access to downtown and job centers, and it'll connect residents to use safe and convenient alternative modes of transportation. It's a 2.7 acre site that was once a vacant and underutilized site for decades and was purchased from the Sacramento Regional Transit, which was a land disposition sale in 2018. So while holding the site and considering financing scenarios for this project, land use approval, demo, and remediation costs, CHW considered a two-phased approach in order to secure financing. We were able to build both phases when the CalHFA Middle Income Program came out, and we're very proud to be the first nonprofit to be awarded this program. This site will soon provide long-term affordable apartments for 120 middle-income families by next summer. Arden Way Apartments also accomplishes the revitalization goals of all 3 community revitalization plans intended to guide public and private improvements, promote transit-oriented development, and create strong communities. We've done extensive community outreach and received much support during the entitlement and funding process to break ground last October. We want to acknowledge our community partnerships with Wood Lake Neighborhood Association, Del Paso Boulevard Partnership, North Sacramento Community Development Corporation, and of course, the Sacramento Housing Alliance for their support to make Arden Way Apartments a reality. Our design and construction team include Mogavera Architects, Sun Country Builders, and Wood Rogers. We want to mention that the project is complying with Section 3, and CHW as an organization is committed to increasing participation of minority and women-owned businesses. Our general contractor, Sun Country Builders, has done monthly monitoring and local outreach when bidding and job postings. To date, there have been 27 different companies on this project. So this building is a 2 elevator served 4-story building, and it'll include 4,000 square feet of ground floor resident community space, and apartments will range in size from studios to 3 bedrooms. On-site resident services will include adult education and skill building, health and wellness, and financial literacy. And architecturally, the buildings really engage the streets with windows, balconies, patios, and creating interaction between residents and the immediate community. I want to mention that this building will be certified by the well-respected Green Point rated program, and we're committed to energy efficiency, water-wise landscape, and indoor air quality and healthy communities. Some of the additional public improvements include new sidewalks, landscaping, lighting, and a bike lane. We're very excited to show you a sneak peek on Arden Way Apartments. Kendra?
And we want to thank, of course, I know Jackie, and I know they're on both our local civil, Wood Rogers, and very especially Mogavaro Architects, our architects who's on too. So thank you.
Thank you. We're ready for the video. Great, thank you, thank you. So one, one of the questions that came up during the last video, and I want to start with this question, was what was the response of this project from the neighbors? How did the community respond to you with this project?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, we had a lot of support from the locals. We did have some opposition from a group that didn't understand the location and the use for it to be affordable apartments. We were able to meet with them and try to do even community outreach, multiple meetings, including the then council member Warren's office, to do a special meeting to address any questions and concerns. So we believe that we tried to show that we are trying to build a beautiful building. We believe that it will be a catalyst for this area. There's revitalization already happening there, and we know that there's an importance of securing affordability as well. And I know some people think of low-income households. This project is serving middle-income households. So I believe that we believe that there's a need for that as well.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
I see a question here about, is the Arden project the old lumberjack site? Yes, it is. If any local remembers that site, yes, that is the lumberjack site.
And
we appreciated the Sacramento Bee, actually above the fold, actually ran stories during the entitlement process and a really impactful editorial, and we appreciated their support, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about what is affordable housing and what's it going to do to the safety and neighborhood quality. And we're very proud that those kind of questions were asked in big meetings and small meetings. And at the end, as Jackie already said, yes, we did have the neighbor support. And that means a lot, because we are a neighbor and we're going to be a good neighbor for a long, long time.
Great, thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that, because so often all of you with these projects, you want to engage the community, but people really don't understand what affordable housing is. And that's really part of the work we're doing and we want to do, is really is to educate the community on what affordable housing is, how critically important it is, and how you mentioned this, Mary Jane, and it was mentioned this week, that these developments may appear to be costly, but you're almost never selling the site. It's for 55 years, and everyone can't afford to live in a home, and everyone can't afford market rate rents. And it really helps in so many ways keep people off the streets and get people off the streets. We do not want people homeless. We want them to have a safe and stable place to live. And these are the projects that really helps that.
And first cost investment is one thing. I think we all know, if you sometimes spare it down too much, you have things that are going to break, and it's not cost effective. So I think what we are looking at are, sites that, in this case, there's some remediation. So that's included in there. So we've cleaned up land to reuse it, and that's better for everyone. That's in the cost. Good ventilation, good materials that will last a long time is the wise thing, because, these are, as you just said, Kendra, I think affordable housing is not one that's built and flipped in 5 or 7 years to make a profit. We're holding it for our community, all of us, for a long time.
Thank you. So another question is when is the list available for people?
So the interest list is actually open now. We have been getting a lot of interest. I believe to date, over 700 people have signed up. Wow. So it is quite, you see the need there just immediately, and it's been less than 2 months. So if anyone is interested, please go to our website, chworks.org, and you can be added onto the interest list. And I think another question is, how are people picked? It is a lottery system, and our asset team and property management firm ConAm will be responsible for going through the applicants.
Great, thank
And
you.
I see some questions about people living in expensive areas or et cetera. You know, I don't necessarily think this neighborhood was the most expensive. I think it's really perhaps on the verge of a lot of revitalization, so this protects it.
Great.
But I think what this comes down to is, you know, I'm old enough to remember neighborhoods and communities that had a mix of people. And you live in the same community that you work, your neighbors, your
Right.
essential workers. And so, you know, I think that's just an important factor as we look at it. And again, these projects with low income housing tax credits, which is a federal program, it's not money from the government, it's investment from private sources. And it has proven very successful since it began in 1986. And you know, just a great track record in across the country and in California.
That's so critically important given the housing crisis that we're all up against in California. That's very important. And I also want to just highlight something that Jackie mentioned is that, you know, your project is also reaching out to people of color, women, for hiring. That's so important, that everybody gets a piece, you know, in ways that we are really, so, you know, I want to commend you for mentioning that, and really, you know, that is the expectation, you know, that we all have, that, you know, we really include as many people, of course, to, you know, to be a part of these projects. And, you know, hiring locally is so critical to people, you know, being able to, you know, stay in their communities, afford their rents, and really, you know, live, like you're saying, in the place and work. You know, there was years ago, there was a Brookings Institute that presentation in Sacramento, I remember going to, for the state of the city. And he said, people want to eat, live, and work in the same place. And that's how you design. And that really stuck with me then. And that's really what Sacramento is doing more so. So I want to thank you. Don't go away real quick. I want to introduce Kathy Cresswell, who is our another fearless leader, our board president for Sacramento Housing Alliance, and just somebody who's amazing in doing the work for affordable housing. Kathy, will you please say a few words for us today?
Sure. And thank you very much. And first, I just want to congratulate Kendra and Adro and Karif and all the folks who worked the team to put this together. It is such an important thing to be able to show people the value that adding safe, sound, and affordable homes to our community can be. And with the situation the way it was, we weren't able to go out. And of course, we miss the one-on-one contact with residents. One of the things we know is that the stories of people who have lived and benefited are what really help shape people's understanding of affordable homes. And so we've missed that. But it has been exciting to see all of the new under construction homes. And it's been a long time since we've had the kind of development that is happening. And we're all really excited because we know now so many California families and individuals are going to actually have a decent, safe, and accessible and affordable place to call home, that but for the work of these amazing organizations, wouldn't have happened. And so I also want to recognize and thank all of the participants who opened up their communities to show us the good work that they're doing, and to thank them. And then just say SHA is really committed to the long run here. We know the affordable housing crisis has been so exacerbated by the pandemic, by the lack of resources. And we are committed to ensuring that we bring the resources to bear that will ensure people have a place to live in our community, and to continue working with neighborhoods and other folks to show them these communities add quality, vibrancy, and real value to your communities. They are great neighbors, as Mary Jane said, and so all of us should be welcoming them. And then to also mention, and Kendra mentioned it a little bit, we are also committed in a way that I don't think we have been before to really looking at how we can use affordable housing and affordable housing policy as a vehicle to addressing systemic and historic racial inequities that unfortunately the housing lending and housing policies exacerbated and really created. And so we are committed to using our resources and advocacy to help ensure that everybody in our communities has access to a safe and decent home. So I want to thank everybody who's come these last 4 days, to thank you for participating, and to again thank the staff. Kendra and Adra have just done phenomenal work, including a town hall this week. So we're committed to continuing to work and appreciate all of the participants who brought these beautiful videos together, answered questions, and for the participants who have joined and listened and asked questions. So thank you very much for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you. And just, it's a great way to end this week. Again, each day has been so different. Each site is so unique. Each tour guide, has really shaped really the experience. And so we're really, very much committed to this work. I want to just say that none of this could have happened, not just without our sponsors, but without KJ Productions, who just understood the vision, was creative enough to go to each site to figure out, and give us a 2-minute tour of what this is, what some of these sites are, what they can be, what they will be. So I'm really grateful for that production team that could pull this together, and we could make this into a week-long journey. So I'll let Jury and Mary Jane make some final comments, and then we will start our weekend.
Well, I wanted to thank you, Kendra and Kathy and Mary Jane and Jacqueline. It's been good learning more about your project. I've heard about it. I think when it started, I was at Cal HFA, so I'm happy to see it come to fruition. I am refreshed by this tour. I think sometimes you can get a little bogged down in the details of projects, given the pandemic and kind of working from home, trying to go into the office a couple of days. But it's great. It's great to see everybody. And it's great to hear that progress is being made. Seems like a lot of times we're focusing on what isn't being done. And it's nice to pause and focus on what is, and all of and really acknowledge all the work that's gone into getting these 2 projects to the finish line. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
The Sacramento region is beautiful and vibrant and growing, and really, again, getting national attention. So this is kudos to grow and to maintain that vitality. I think we need to provide a continuum of housing options for everyone in our community. And I think this tour is wonderful, and being able to show that, to also help, diffuse any fake news about what affordable housing is, or how it's financed, or who uses it. And hopefully, and thank you for this opportunity for us to share and be part of this group. Jury, it's beautiful too. I used to work over at Sunrise Mall in college too, so it's wonderful. I know the area. Thank you.
Great, thank you again. Thank you all. Thank you for participating in this tour this week. This is just the beginning, and we are taking our work to a new level. And we really appreciate all the time and effort from everyone. There's been a couple of pop-up trivia questions you can answer. Most days people get it right, looks like 65%, or they're still going 50, for this one, Sunrise Point will have on-site live-in property manager. That was the correct answer. So thank you for participating. And we are here for a discussion. This has been a tour, so this has really been information. But we are happy to talk more to people, anyone who wants to really engage and have a deeper conversation about our work and the work of our partners. And so we'll definitely be reaching out. We've been having town halls, and we are definitely, with the housing element going on in our region, we are very active in that work. So we hope that everyone will continue in this. And again, thank you to our sponsors. And we hope that you will join us in a few weeks at our summit, which has come faster than I can ever, I can even keep up with. So thank you again. And we look forward to continuing this work and working together.